How is it going, everybody? You're watching Then About Tech, and yes, we have a new iPhone in the house, and it's called iPhone 16e. Bye-bye iPhone SE. We don't have that name anymore. Apple has ditched SE, and now the entry level, the base iPhone, the cheapest iPhone you can get is called iPhone 16e. Let's talk about everything you need to know, including pricing, design, availability. Let's compare it to the iPhone 16, the normal iPhone 6e, and let's see if this new iPhone is actually a great deal or not really. Let's talk about all that. Okay guys, so the iPhone 16e starts at $599, and keep that number in mind because it's so important. $599. And it's actually available in just two colors, two matte colors. So it's gonna be either white or black. So super simple, super minimalist, not a lot of choices. And as you can already tell by the name, 16e, it's actually based on the iPhone 16. So everything that I'm gonna talk about in this video is gonna have a relation with the iPhone 16. Starting with the design, and of course you have to talk about size. So the iPhone 16e has the exact same 6.1-inch display as the iPhone 16. So the footprint is very similar. They'll look very similar side by side, but naturally there's a big difference when we're talking about design, and that's the back, because the iPhone 16 comes with two cameras and the iPhone 16e comes with just one. More on the camera in a second, because it's actually better than most people think. Moving on to the processor, the 16e uses the same A18 processor as the iPhone 16. So it's gonna be as fast, as fluid, as smooth as the iPhone 16. And it's becoming more and more interesting when we're talking about this head-to-head comparison, when we think about that the normal iPhone 16 costs $799, and as you remember, the 16e $599. So that's a $200 difference. So again, keep this number in mind. Moving on, we have to talk about the camera, because yes, the 16e comes with just one single camera. It's the same 48 megapixel fusion camera as the iPhone 16, but with a twist. It's actually better. The main camera is better simply because it's a 2-in-1 camera. It's not only a normal wide camera, your typical camera, but it's also a telephoto camera. And I'm talking an actual telephoto camera. So I'm not talking about digital zoom. No. The iPhone 16e camera, just one camera, actually has optical zoom. So it's a 2-in-1, wide and telephoto in just one sensor. This is so cool. Of course, you will lose the ultra wide that the iPhone 16 has. You don't have that on the iPhone 16e. But then there is one major advantage you get on the iPhone 16e, and that's called battery. That's right, one of the things that we all most care about. The battery on the iPhone 16e is actually physically larger compared to the iPhone 16. We get a larger battery on the cheap entry-level iPhone 16e. So according to Apple, we can get up to 20% more battery life on the 16e compared to the iPhone 16. And that's not only because of the physical size of the battery, but also because the 16e has a new chip. It's actually the first time ever Apple creates a modem chip, which is called C1, and this chip is made exclusively for connectivity, for cellular connectivity. So then when you're connected to 5G, for example, this is the chip that will actually run this. So it's a cellular modem chip. And before the iPhone 16e, so even the iPhone 16 Pro Max, for example, it used a Qualcomm chip, so a third-party chip. Now on the 16e, it's using an in-house chip. So this is so good, and not only because it's nice, but because it's super power efficient. And as you know, 5G cellular as a whole, this type of connectivity drains your battery. It's so bad for a battery, it just drains compared to Wi-Fi. So having an extremely efficient chip for cellular will of course increase your battery life by a lot, and that's why the 16e has amazing battery life. It's actually close to the 16 Plus, which is big, is a big phone. incredible. Of course, the iPhone 16e is also compatible with Apple Intelligence, so it's a great opportunity to spend not a lot of money and have access to the latest of Apple's AI. So I love the fact that even though it's an entry-level phone, it does have compatibility with Apple Intelligence. On top of that, of course, it has USB-C. We don't use Lightning anymore, and also wireless charging. Of course, we also have the action button, just like the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 15 Pros. You do get an action button on the side, which you can map to whatever you want, so that's a good thing as well. You do have Face ID, something that the previous SE phones didn't have. They use Touch ID, right? So you have Face ID as well. And we also have an aluminum chassis and ceramic shield on the display, just like the iPhone 16 as well. And if you were not super interested and excited about the colors, because just black and white, Apple has released a new series of cases with quite a lot of interesting colors, colorful options that you're seeing on the screen right now. So if you're interested in that, you have the possibility to make your iPhone 16e pretty colorful. Now, you can pre-order the iPhone 16e this Friday, so February 21st, and then it'll be available to everyone to pick up in store on the 28th, so next week. And then I know a lot of people are thinking, how was Apple actually able to create an iPhone which is so similar to the iPhone 16, pretty much not losing anything, pretty much with the same features, same camera, same processor, display, Apple Intelligence, it's all the same, even better battery, but costing so much less money, $200 less. And the thing is, they actually cheaped out on a few very strategic points. And of course, they didn't mention this on their video, on their website, but of course, I had to go through the tech specs one by one compared to, of course, give you the full picture. So, how Apple actually cheaped out? Well, so the screen resolution. When we're talking about the display, the 6.1-inch display, it has a little bit less resolution, a little bit less compared to the iPhone 16. Same thing with the maximum brightness. It's not as bright as the 16. And of course, the ceramic shield, so the glass itself that protects the front of your display, it's actually the first generation of ceramic shield. Now we are on Gen 2, so that's one thing. When we're talking about the processor, it's almost the same, the A18, but the 16e actually has one less GPU core. It's not a huge deal, but that's how Apple makes it, right? And when we're talking about wireless charging, it's not as fast either, so it doesn't have the Qi 2 protocol, so it will charge wirelessly, but not as fast as the iPhone 16. And of course, same goes with MagSafe. Even if we're using MagSafe, it's not going to be as fast compared to the 16. And naturally, you have probably noticed that the 16e doesn't have the camera control button. So the camera button right on the side of the iPhone, that glass button, super high-tech button, it just doesn't have that button at all. But if you ask me, no one uses it. I've pretty much never used it on my iPhone, so it's not a big of a deal. And so, what's my conclusion on the iPhone 16e? Is it a good phone? Is it a great bet from Apple? Or not really? It's just one phone that Apple cheaped out and you should avoid. And guys, I'm literally impressed when I saw the press release of the iPhone 16e and then checking out their video and all the tech specs and everything. I'm literally impressed. I think Apple made a great decision releasing this phone, simply because it's pretty much what 95% of the people actually need for a fraction of the price. If you think about it, 95% of people, or 95% of users don't need anything more than that. You get a great camera with telephoto. You get a great battery life, better than the iPhone 16. You get an amazing processor. You get Apple Intelligence. You get awesome design. You get everything that you need from a phone, but that's $200 cheaper than the iPhone 16, which is the standard phone, let's call it that. When we're talking about the iPhone SE, so the iPhone from previous generations, there was always a compromise. You would get a really old looking phone with big bezels, with Touch ID. It looked like an iPhone 8. No one wanted that. But when we're talking about the 16e, when you look at it, it's pretty much an iPhone 16. Of course, it has one less camera on the back, But then again, the camera now is more advanced than on the iPhone 16. But it's just amazing. It looks modern, it has everything you would need, and it's just $200 cheaper. Just so you have an idea, the iPhone 16e is pretty much half the price of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And if you think about it, most users that have a Pro Max don't even really use the features. They don't use all of the camera capabilities. They don't use all of the processor's capabilities. They just don't use the camera control button. So then, when you're comparing it not only to the normal 16, but to the 16 Pro Max as well, it's incredible. It's an amazing value for money. So in my opinion, if you need a new iPhone, if you're planning on buying a new iPhone, go for the 16e. It's the best value for money, like by miles. It's incredible. And honestly, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing on the iPhone 16e now, I wouldn't recommend an iPhone 15. I wouldn't recommend an iPhone 16. Go for the 16e. And I would only recommend the 16 Pro, now I'm talking about the Pro series, if you are a pro, if you really need to use it, if you make videos, if you edit on your phone, or if you game a lot on your phone, if you need to take advantage of what the Pro actually delivers. If not, and again, that's 95% of the population, go for the 16e. Just skip the other iPhones, all other iPhones, iPhone 16e for the win. I just loved this phone. Of course, as soon as I have the possibility to have this phone with me in hand, because like it's not available yet, I'll get it, I'll make an unboxing, and I'll show you in action, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and you're gonna love it as well. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one as usual, guys. Bye-bye.